Hi, Internet viewers. Frank Rauscher again. We have finally finished the goldfinch and put that to bed, and I hope everybody enjoyed that one. We're going to start a new one, and that will be the sandpiper. And this is a real neat project to do. It has a lot to do with the carving, the burning, and the painting. So this will be interesting, and hopefully you'll enjoy this one as well. I'm going to show you how to do the whole setting as is. I'm also going to show you some other setups I've done with this bird before, but it's a real neat bird to do, and I hope you guys will enjoy doing this one as well. So I just wanted to show you what we're going to proceed on and how we go about doing it. I'm going to show you today, besides showing you the product that we're going to go after, I'm going to, I'll show you the pattern. Let me do that too. That's this guy right here. And I'm going to do this in metric, okay, just to help out some people, because we tend to go in inches and what have you, or fractions of inches. So in this case here, I'm going to try to stay metric this way, and hopefully this will not screw anybody up, and I hope it'll help other people as well too. I said I would, and then I sort of deviate, so what can I say? I want to, within this video, I want to show you how I go about creating my patterns, and also how I get it ready to do the prep work to get a blank and so on. And I will show you how to create the blank and the patterns, and also get, if for those who are going to cut out their own patterns, I shouldn't say patterns, but you make templates, and then from there we go on, and we this is one way we can go in and start cutting out from a piece of wood what you may need size-wise and everything else to create this blank, which I use basswood most of the time. That's the most prominent wood I use, and I like to stay with that. There are other woods out there, as I've discussed before, which is tupelo, and you can even use white pine, but not white pine, white cedar, excuse me. You don't want to use pine, and I'll give you some reasons for that. The pine has tars in it, and I've seen it like early in the game when I first started. I used pine, and after you say you turned out a pretty nice carving and you went and painted it and you've done everything, later on the tars in the wood starts oozing out, and you'll get a spot maybe on the paint where it disfigures your bird or something like that. So to spend just a little bit more money, and it's not that much, it's very little. It's what's the name? It's better to use the basswood. It's a tight grain, no tars. You don't have that problem. So I've always done it that way. When I was carving with a knife before I got into power carving big time, it worked out great too. It's a great carving knife with a knife, and it's a great power carving one. If you're really into making something lighter, tupelo is very good, and gelatone's another one, and they're not always accessible, but for those who can, it's great. Tupelo is great for texturing and for burning. So is Gelatone. Gelatone's more of a whiter wood, and that's a nice one too, but it's not always available. So I want to try to guide you where I can as best I can. Like I said, and I always state this, I'm giving you what I've learned over the years, but be open to everybody, because I'm not the only game in town. There's other ways of doing things. I'm giving you my techniques, and hopefully they'll help you out and improve your carving. And if you enjoy it, great. But be open to other people. If there's a real good carver in your area and you want to learn from him, you go for it. That's smart. And then you can come up with your own style and so on, because you do tend to formulate a style after a while of how you do it compared to maybe somebody else did. I've done it. My mentor was Ernie Mulemat, which was like a world-class bird carver, and he stopped teaching, and then I started actually doing my own stuff. And then over the years, I just will say I got better at it. I hope that was the case. But I just wanted to give you a heads up on it. So be open to everybody and incorporate that into your design or the way you operate as far as creating the product. So I just can't say that enough, and if you do have a real good person that's carving, like a bird carver, we'll say, today the world seems to be turning towards caricatures, and I appreciate it, and I think there's a great amount of real good caricatures out there, and the designs and the techniques are fantastic. But I like detail, I like realism, so I do animals and birds that are more realistic. So that's my style, and I love detail, so I sort of go that route. What I want to also mention to you is, if anybody wants to do this project, I will have a blank available, and the blank is this one here. It's a basswood blank, and I'm going to actually show you how to make one of these, as well as follow along with me. If you want, you can order the pattern, if that's just what you want, and then cut your own out. Or I provide kits, which has the feet, the eyes, the blank, and the pattern all together. So all you need to do is start carving, okay? And then later on down the road, you're going to need some paints and a burning pen and things like that, And if need be, I could help you out there too. I do have a catalog that lists a lot of the products that I use. You can get from me. I think my prices are fair, but hey, shop around. That's the smart thing to do, and compare. And I will try to guide you where what I think is best for the money or stuff like that. And if anytime you have any questions, definitely shoot them out to me through my email, which is in you're losing my train of thought here. In the description of this video, I have my email address. And if you don't see it, I will give it to you now, which is Rauscher, Rauscher, Frank, Frank, 7 @gmail.com. And I will try to help you out on any of the questions that you have. I can't say I have all the answers, but I'm going to give it my best try, okay? And if I don't have what you're looking for, I'll try to guide you where to get it to. And I try to be fair with everybody and guiding you where you don't need to buy a million things. You just buy some things at a time. And depending on how you want to spend your money, you gotta look at that as well. So I do have a catalog, and if you're looking for it, definitely write to me, and I will send you the catalog out. And if there's other information that you're not sure of, or you want to find out about it, or in my videos that I have done before, if I confused you a little bit, hey, fire away. I try to answer all my emails if I could possibly do it, and guide you in the right direction. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to just set you up on the pattern and the templates, and then from there we'll go to a block of wood. But on the next video after this, I'll show you how we cut it out, and then we start proceeding on with it. Okay, so right now we'll be in the process of making templates, following the pattern, and getting it onto a piece of wood, the outline, and then we'll start in making the blank, and I'll show you how to do that and how to prep it so we could start shaping it. So bear with me. I hope you'll enjoy this project just like we did with all the rest. And so I'm going to bring the camera down so that you can see what I'm doing. And I apologize on the last one, the goldfinch. I didn't have a clear shot looking in, but you've seen some of the originals, and the one I did on camera here, I didn't have the best shot looking in to give you that full view of how the thing may have looked, and it was a top view. It wasn't the best, so I apologize on that. And before I get too much further, I want to apologize for going out of camera range at times, but I don't think there was enough that you couldn't see what I was doing in the beginning, okay, and enough to put it together. If there are questions, I will answer them again, okay? So don't feel as if you're left out and you didn't see something because I was out of camera range. I drift sometime and I'm talking and I don't notice that I'm not staying within the camera range. And I don't always have that capability of knowing that I'm in the range all the time, okay? And so bear with me, but we're going to get started. So here we go. Okay, now let me explain a little bit about the pattern. I've done this over the years. I've changed the patterns around a little bit. Not too much, but in some cases, you can orient different things on it. For the most part, when I create a bird in a book where they say it's got a length from here to there, it's usually from the beak to the tail. And in this case here, it's 7 inches long, okay? So I'll lay out my dimensions from here to here, and then I start drawing, okay? I've done this numerous times, so I have my way of doing it because I've done it so long. I don't even think about it a lot. I'm going to show you as we go, working this up, that it gets shoulder muscles cut in right in here, and I'll show you how to do that. We'll cut the wing in, and then we also have the tail forming in the back here. You got the rump and everything else, and we got the bottom of the rump and how it should look. This is the top view looking straight down. And so I create all this, and most of this is to scale. So if you really had to follow me by the pattern, it is to scale. So it's right there. So from different angles, I try to give you, the first thing I do is I strike a line, which I call the beak line, in through here. So everything's based off of that beak line. I indicated it as beak line, and then we build so far in off the beak. There's different dimensions that we locate the eye. This is what I call the cheek area right in here, and that is dimensioned as well. And then from the beak line going up, we have a location of the eye and to the top of the head, just in case there is some deviation. When I cut the blank out, you want to at least have that much room in there, okay, or pretty close to it. And then for the cheek area, it gives you dimensions for that as well, okay? So, and most of this is pretty much to scale, okay? And then I do the same thing down here. I give you the width of the head, and I break that out. You'll see other dimensions in red here. And what I've done is I'm trying to do a setting where I'm doing a bunch of sandpipers that are going to be running on the sand, at least look like. So what I ended up doing was, from this pattern, I scaled this down and made a template with a reduced size, and I got a whole bunch of them that I'm going to be doing. And you can see one of them now that I've started to shape up. I'm using this template to get this here, and then I'll have them in different positions with the legs sticking out of the sand, looking like they're running. So I'm going to try that. I've already started making a drawing on that. Maybe when I get further along on that drawing, I'll show you how I do that. I do a lot of flat art work as well, just to help me get everything set up. But for the most part, we're doing a full-scale size bird here, okay? And sometimes I do miniatures just to help me out a little bit. And but it's not the easiest, because you get really small feathering, and for somebody starting out, I wouldn't recommend this. But if you want a challenge, hey, you could do that too. Here's one I had done before. I did a fix-up on this, and this is one that I pretty much detailed out in miniature. So just to give you an idea, there's a lot of ways of doing this. When I got into the virus that we had, I started doing a lot of miniatures, and I gravitated towards that. But when I teach the classes here, mostly everything's full scale. Now, that's not true on all cases. Like I did the otters, and the otters are shrunk down. And but that was a neat project too, but it wasn't as popular. Like the cardinal I did, and all the birds, mostly all of them are full size. The great horned owl, which is like 20 inches long, I didn't want to get into such a big piece of wood. You'd be here all day trying to get it done. And it was bad enough just in miniature. I did about 1/4 scale of a real great horned owl. And that took us, I think, 47 videos to do. So I don't want to do that again for a while. I want to try to reduce the number of videos that you can accomplish something in a reasonable amount of time. Now, here's what I've done. I've gotten this pattern, and what I get, let me show you how I operate a little bit here. I'm going to show you. I have graphite paper, okay? And this isn't carbon paper, this is graphite on one side, and this is like a waxy film on the other side. So what I do is I get my pattern, and if I had a piece of cardboard, which I don't have in front of me now, let me see if I can reach out. I'm going to grab this is a piece of cardboard, and if I were tracing this out, I would get a better piece than this. Something that's got a little more thickness, and I do have them, that I use. So what I do is I get a ballpoint pen. This isn't a ballpoint pen. Let's see if I can find one here. I got a million of them. But if you get a ballpoint pen and you go around the outline of this, and you don't have this upside down so it traces back onto yourself here, this will trace back down onto the cardboard, okay? And this whole outline all around on this bird, you trace that outline, okay? And then you also do the same thing. You bring this up and you do the top view. So you're going to need the profile view and the top view. And this is looking straight down on this bird this way, okay? So like I said, I created these, but you can also reposition the head if you're doing your own, okay? With me, I'm cutting it out so that the head's turned. And the reason why we don't do it in a straight line basis, years ago, we used to do that. And then what we did is we cut the head off and we turned it to wherever we wanted to go. But then it had a seam there that I had to hide. So I got away from that. And the way it looked before, and I'll show you an old one I did. This is all in one line of action. And you can see if I place this over on top of this one, this head is turning this way and not straight on. And the reason why I turn the heads, and then I do this for all birds, is it gives it movement. They look too stiff straight on. In some cases, you can get away with it. In other cases, I like to get the movement within the piece. And that starts out by moving the head. Now, if I made a template just of the head, which I didn't, but if you wanted to, where the middle of this head, you could pivot this around and you can change the direction from here over to here or to the other side, okay, and just pivot it off that. And you can even come back on itself. I've done birds where I reversed the head almost 180 degrees, and it looks like it's putting its beak within the feathering here, or at least laying on the feathering in the back. You can do that. So that's a choice that you make as you go. But in the case of what we're trying to do, I'm trying to present the bird in its best possible light, and I do it in this position. And this is what I'm going to set it up for. For those who want to change that, you're going to have to get your pattern, make different positions on the head the way you like it, and then cut it out to that, and then make a template just for the head. And I show lines that are out beyond where the beak line is actually inside, but this was where I was cutting the wood before. So I left that in there as a help, but we actually reduced the bill, the material around the bill, to get it in tight, so it looks like a real bill and not pieces of wood. But you'll see when I go to cut it out how it works. But anyway, I transfer these onto the cardboard, okay? And then after I get it on the cardboard, we'll say this is the outline, I cut this out, okay, with a pair of scissors. This is a heavier board that has the little wax surfacing on. You don't need that. You can just get regular heavy cardboard, which tends to last, because if you're going to make a few, you always want to keep the pattern so you can rework it and it's not going to bend or dent. So I get something like this. So what I end up doing is I cut the outline exactly the way the template is set up, okay? And I get that all out. And then that's my pattern, or template, I should say, from the pattern. And then it's the same way with the top view. I make a template just covering exactly the outline of the thing here, okay? Now, just to show you what you could do body-wise, you could just flip it and have the head turned that way. So there's variations on this, but it's the same width on the body and the length. It's just you turning the head one way or the other. In this case here, that I'm trying to get you guys to follow, is the one I'm doing right now. So, and you want to do that with a ball pen, okay? And what's helpful at times, if you have like a red one when you're outlining this, that you know that you got the whole thing, okay? And it transfers over with this graphite paper. And the graphite paper could be gotten at any art store or a hobby shop like a Michael's or something like that. And it's great. The carbon paper tends to the carbon gets on everything, and you don't want it on wood. This is a lot cleaner process. If I make a marking on here, say it was on top of this, and I do this, let me get a cleaner spot, and you'll see what I'm talking about. If I go around like that, that transfers right on over. And then what I usually do is get my ball pen and I go around, or something else to make it heavier so I could see it. And before I cut my pattern out, I have the whole thing outlined like that. So that's what I do. Now, once we get to here, then your setup is, how wide is this pattern? In most cases, you could lay, I'm going to get a block of wood here. And you can always get a block of wood where you can lay it down and you cut the pattern out, okay? But your major problem is the width. You need a block of wood that's thick enough to cut across here and cover the width of the body. So in this case here, this is about 2 1/8 inches across here, and that is at its fattest part. So you need at least a piece of basswood that has a thickness like this one here. And if I measure this, this is about 2 1/4. So it's bigger than what I need, but that's great. So what I end up doing is I'll get this, and I've already marked some of this out, but I'm going to do it again for you. I'm going to lay this in here. And you want to make sure that the tail's on and the beak is on. And then what I do is I usually use a ballpoint pen, and I come in here and I outline the profile first. And I come around here. You don't want it to move neither, like I just did. You want to hold it pretty secure. So I'll run that through here and around. And there we are. We have it here. Sometimes it doesn't come out well. Yeah, just come back and heavy it up. And you got the whole bird, right from the beak to the tail, and you got the outline. The key to this is having the right width, because you don't want to have a skinny bird when it needs a little more body to it, okay? So You need the length and you need the width, okay? And the width is this. You should be able to get your template and put it on a piece. And if you got room on both sides, you're in, okay? Otherwise, get a bigger piece of wood. Now, the other thing you want to consider yourself with, the grain on this baby is going this way. So if we put the grain on here, and I'm doing this just for your purposes. You don't need to do this on yours. The grain is going this way and this way. And most boards, they're cut in length like this, and you just cut it off. I just happen to cut this off so I can fit these guys on. So what I did is I template all this out, and I go with the grain. If you notice, the grain is running this way. So if you ever had to get the strength is in the beak because it's going with the grain, and the feathering and the tail is not going to split off on you because you're going with the strength as well. And you try to do that in every case. But in some of my cases where I have animals and it has legs sticking down this way, you can't help it. But the nice part about it is power carving allows you not to fight it. If you're using a knife, sometimes you'll find when you go against the grain, you got to be really careful because it tends to split off. In the case of the birds here, you can pretty much go with the grain, but you can, if you got a piece of wood that's opposite grain, you can still do it with power, and that's the beauty part of it. So I will have this up, and then on the next video, what I'm going to do is take this to my back room here where I have my bandsaw, and I'm going to show you how to cut this out, get it trimmed up, and getting ready for when we start carving. And what we're looking to get to is this here, and I'll show you how I get to this point, okay? So for this video, I want to introduce you to how the piece looks, and I'll bring the original back in here. A lot of this markings in here are wood burned, and I'm going to show you. I always talk a lot about when we do wood burning, I use titanium white besides my sealer, which is usually the Krylon spray, and it soaks in. I come in with the titanium white paint as my undercoat all over, and then we paint it. But in the case of the spots, they've been burnt in, okay? And I'm going to show you how to do that too. We'll paint a little bit of it, and we're going to burn a little bit of it. So a lot of this spots are burnt in. The same way with the pattern of burning. I'm going to show you how to do that as well. And not everything on here is burnt. A lot of this patterning work, I'll show you how to do that. That's done with a brush. But that's not saying if you wanted to really go crazy, you could burn that in sort of that way. Not everything, but a lot of it. And we put a wash over that afterwards. The head itself, most of the patterning work up in this head is all burnt. And it shows you how. Even in the white streaks here, that's burnt in. And we do that initially up front. So, and I'll show you how to do that. But I'll show you how to develop everything on here. And in the kits, you'll get the blank, you'll get the feet, the eyes, and the pattern. So if you're willing to try that with me, hey, join in, and I'd love to have you. Hope you're enjoying the videos as we go, and I will get you started on the sandpiper. And for this video, I want to cover just this much. On the next one, I'll show you how to cut it out, and we'll get this shape in. And then I'll show you how to develop that and how we mark it out. And we do a step-by-step as we go. If you're following me before in my videos, you'll see how I develop this. So hope you'll be staying with me and enjoying this one as well, just like we did with the goldfinch. And I'll see you on the next video. And if you could also give me a thumbs up, and if you could subscribe to my channel, that'd be great. And if you could pass the word on to other people that may be interested in doing this, that would be very helpful for me too. So I really appreciate the interest that you show. And if you could support me where you can here, that would be great. So I'll see you on the next video. And if you need catalogs or anything, remember, you can write to me. It's Rauscher, Rauscher, Frank, Frank, 7@gmail.com. And that's my email address. If you write to me, I'll send you out a catalog through the mail. You should get it. And then if you want to join up, you can see what things cost and what have you, and we can proceed on. So see you on the next video, and have a good one.